Hello there, Stevos, and welcome back to another episode of Steve's Movie Wrap-Up right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. Let's see what movies I'll be reviewing in this episode today. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap-Up, episode 84, right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. The first movie we'll be reviewing in this episode is Primates. So the first movie I'm talking about is Primates, which I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. Went to see Primates at the cinema, and I will be honest, this was my highly anticipated horror movie to watch in January 2026. But did it live up to its hype though? I enjoyed watching this film. There was scenes that I did find genuinely intense throughout the film, and also as well, one of the best kills from the film happened at the beginning, which is a shame in my opinion, but there is another gruesome, gnarly, brutal kill that does happen as we do head towards the final act of the film. Primate is a film I am definitely going to rewatch again. However, this is one of those films you will need to watch with blackout curtains if you are planning to watch this outside the cinema, but I do still recommend seeing this one in cinemas though. There is a character who I did fear for towards the end of the film. I won't spoil why, but if you do end up seeing this, then you will probably understand which character I am referring to. As for characters though, we did get to know them mostly, but they are characters who you genuinely aren't going to care about, because they are likely the characters to die in the film. I enjoyed Primate, and is Primate a horror movie that I do recommend watching? This is a creature feature horror movie, and I do recommend watching on the big screen while you can see it in cinemas. If you are into horror films and into gruesome, gnarly deaths in horror films as well, then I do recommend watching this as well. I will definitely be giving this another rewatch when it is available on digital platforms to buy and rent later in the year. But Primate is showing in cinemas and theatres worldwide. Sinners. Next up, I have watched Sinners, which I gave 4.5 stars over on Letterboxd. This is officially the 50th film I have watched in 2026, and the 50th film I have decided to watch is a film I have kept meaning to watch since it was first released in cinemas. Then I missed watching it on the big screen, so instead bought it on digital last year in 2025 when it came to digital. Still didn't watch it at all in 2025, so here we are now in early 2026 and 50 films into 2026 so far, and I have finally watched Sinners. I can now see why this has been nominated for 16 Oscars at this year's Oscars ceremony. I can see why everyone has this movie as their top #1 film from last year, or their top #1 film in the horror genre category. This film is absolutely brilliant from start to finish. If I am honest though, with the running time clocking in at 2 hours 18 minutes, I do feel as though it could have been just a little shorter, but aside from that, this is my only criticism for the film. Ryan Coogler directed Sinners. Michael B. Jordan has 2 roles in this film as he plays twin brothers. Haley Steinfeld also stars in Sinners, as well as Miles Catton as well. I can see big things coming up for Miles in the future because he was great in this film. I feel as though there are some standout imagery in this film that will be forever engraved in cinema history forever. The music score in this was also excellent as well. The story and plot was also really good, and I felt as though the use of blood and gore was rather effective as well. I know that I am really late to the party watching this, and I am really glad to have seen this now, making this the 50th film I have watched in 2026. There are some major blockbusters from 2025 that I have missed, which I will be doing my best to watch for the first time in 2026, so stay tuned for more of the first time watched films. But for now, Sinners is a movie I would recommend watching. If you haven't seen it before and yet to see it, then I do recommend watching this, and I also will happily rewatch and revisit this film again in the future for sure. This is quite a slow burn film as well, so if you are into slow burner films, then you may enjoy this one more too. But Sinners is available to buy and rent on digital platforms now. The Muppet Show 2026 one-off revival. Not that this one is a movie, but I'm going to talk about it very briefly in this movie wrap-up anyway. The Muppet Show, I gave 4.5 stars over on Letterboxd. The Muppet Show has returned for the first time in 45 years, and with it brought special guests include Maya Rudolph, Seth Rogen, and singer Sabrina Carpenter. In the words of the Muppet Show theme song, it's time to play the music, it's time to light the lights. What did I think of this The Muppet Show revival? I really did enjoy it. It does feel quite classic. They haven't changed much at all. It is still that same chaotic program that many people have grown up with and loved when it first aired all them years ago. There was things in this special where even I laughed at as well. For me, I feel as though this is definitely a special worth watching. And also, of the viewership is if the viewership is there, and I have heard that this did get really good ratings, especially over in the US as well. And the hype is there as well. There is a possibility that we could see this one-off special revived into a full series, and I for one do hope that it happens, because I feel as though the world could do with having this type of comedy and humour again. And if I'm being very honest with you, I saw a lot of reaction to this after it was released on Disney+. So I think there's a lot of talk of the Muppet Show, and I think with the high viewership as well, I think Disney would be absolute fools not to make this into a full series. So if this does get a full series, I will definitely watch the entire series, and I will do a TV wrap-up on this in the near future if a full series does get given the green light by Disney. But for now though, the Muppet Show special is streaming now on Disney Plus worldwide. Piglet. And now back to the movies, and we're back to low-budget horror movies in the form of Piglet, which I gave 1.5 star over on Letterboxd. This is the first time I've watched the low-budget horror movie Piglet. This is the first time in 2026 I have given a slightly low score to a movie that is titled Piglet. Is Piglet part of the Poonieverse? Sadly not, and thankfully not, because while it was made by the same production company who have done some of the Poonieverse films such as Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, Bambi the Reckoning, and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, it doesn't have anything to do with the Poonieverse. I feel as though some of the more recent Poonieverse movies have got better, but this was just really bad. The gore was very obviously low budget. The acting and communications between the characters seemed really off. The only good thing I can say that I do appreciate is the lighting. The lighting in this was rather decent. The running time does clock in at 1 hour 23 minutes, so it doesn't outstay its welcome, thankfully. But for me, this is a movie that I will watch once and once only. Piglet is streaming now on Amazon Prime Video in the UK. Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Death and Porridge. And if I thought that was bad, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Death and Porridge was even worse, because I gave that 0.5 star over on Letterboxd. For the first time in 2026, I have given a movie a 0.5 star rating on Letterboxd, and that is in the form of a low-budget horror movie called Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Death and Porridge. Of course, based on the fairy tale book titled Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This film is absolutely god-awful. The fact that the dialogue is very cringy. Of course, they say a lot of phrases from the story we have all known all of our lives. The characters' acting seems to be really off as well. There is a lot of questions in this that you will probably end up saying out loud to yourself while you are watching this, if you do decide to give this a watch for yourself. Some of the questions I started questioning while I was watching this was, is it normal for a house to have 4 of everything, such as bowls, plates and cups? I am sure when I live on my own one day in the future that I will have 4 plates, cups and bowls in my cupboard. Also, the sound seems to be all over the place in this film. It sounds like sometimes the characters are speaking on set of the film. Other times, it sounds as though the actors playing the characters have gone into a recording studio and recorded their lines, which has then been dubbed into the film. And then there are other moments in the film where the music or the background noise takes over and you struggle to hear what the characters are saying. Do I recommend watching this film? I don't. The movie has a running time clocking in at 1 hour 23 minutes, so thankfully it doesn't outstay its welcome. For me, this is a movie I will watch once and once only. Goldilocks and the Three Bears Death and Porridge is streaming now on Amazon Prime Video in the UK. Mouseboat Massacre. Another low-budget horror movie in the form of Mouseboat Massacre is the next film that I watched, and I gave that 1 star over on Letterboxd. Another low-budget horror movie that I have given a low rating on Letterboxd, as I have given this a 1-star rating. The acting seems to be quite off with the characters. There appears to be some sound issues in this film at times as well. Also, they have taken some inspiration from the movie The Ring for this movie, where if you watch a videotape, the mouse, basically Mickey Mouse, will come and kill you. So this movie does take some inspiration from another horror film. Natasha Ticini, who I have met once at Comic-Con, does star in this film. I recognised her from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and she has been known to do other roles in low-budget horror films. I do hope eventually she does get a big break out role in a more well-known horror franchise with a bigger budget, because I would love to see more of her in the horror genre. But sadly for me though, even she couldn't save this terrible, awful, low-budget horror movie. It does clock in with a running time of just 1 hour 23 minutes and doesn't outstay its welcome, thankfully. Do I recommend watching Mouseboat Massacre? Sadly, I don't, and for me, this movie will be a watch once and once only. But Mouseboat Massacre is streaming now on Amazon Prime Video in the UK. The Little Mermaid. Next up, I watched another low-budget horror movie in the form of The Little Mermaid, which I gave 2 stars on Letterboxd. I seem to have somewhat enjoyed watching this horror adaptation of The Little Mermaid. I do remember watching the trailer for this either sometime during 2025 or towards the end of 2024, and I have had this film on my Letterboxd watch list for a while since first coming across the trailer online, and I will say that this is the more decent low-budget horror film that I have watched. The actress that plays the mermaid in this film does seem rather attractive, not gonna lie. She does seem rather cute. Heck, I would let her have a bite on my neck and turn me into one of her slaves or minions, but the characters and the acting in this seem to be a lot better than the acting I have seen in some of the previous low-budget horror films I have recently watched. The running time does clock in at 1 hour 29 minutes, so a nice and easy low-budget horror movie to watch. The locations and the scenery is really nice all throughout the film, and also the colour grading in this film is rather decent as well. Do I recommend watching this? Well, yes, this is one of the better low-budget horror movies to watch. Is this a film I would watch again? Despite the fact that this is a better low-budget horror movie to watch, I would happily rewatch this again sometime in the future, but I wouldn't be in any rush to watch it again anytime soon though. The horror adaptation of The Little Mermaid is streaming now on Amazon Prime Video in the UK. The Strangers Chapter 3. And the final brand new film that I have watched this week is The Strangers Chapter 3, which I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd. So after revisiting and rewatching the first 2 chapters from the Strangers trilogy, the first started back in 2023/2024. I did revisit Chapter 1 last year in 2025 when I went to see Chapter 2 in cinemas on the big screen. I have heard a lot of bad reviews about Chapter 3. Just like I did hear bad reviews about Chapter 2, but then again, I found Chapter 2 a rather decent watch. What I love about this release is they've fast-tracked this release just a few short months after Chapter 2 was released in cinemas. And also, I have heard that in a recent interview, Madeleine Pesch, who plays the main character of Maya in the film, told an interviewer that 80% of the film was reshot. Why was it reshot? Probably because the first version wasn't watchable like Chapter 1 was. Well, I say it wasn't watchable. It was to a certain degree, but Chapter 2 was more watchable than Chapter 1. However, though, we have moved on to Chapter 3, the final chapter of this trilogy, and so many people say they have disliked this trilogy. So for me, did it end on a high? Well, I won't delve into too much spoilers in case you are seeing this and interested in watching the final chapter in the trilogy for yourself. And I do somewhat recommend watching this because there is a couple of surprising moments in this film. Madeleine Pesch is back as the final girl again, playing main character Maya. She is traumatized over the events that that has happened in the first two films, and there is more trauma yet to come in this chapter for a character, which does make you, as the audience, feel bad and feel sorry for her. I think there is times that are probably that she probably wishes she should have died at the end of the first film with her partner Ryan, so that she wouldn't have suffered everything she has gone through. We do see a little more backstory to the characters of the strangers themselves as well. We see a little bit more of the story from when they were kids, which we first got in Chapter 2, but as the movie gets halfway, we then see these characters as teenagers. I will add, there was a guy talking to the female stranger character who looked like she was around 14, pushing 15 maybe, and the guy in the store looked rather middle-aged, trying to flirt with her, even though he had his own partner. I thought that came across as rather grim, like as if he was trying to groom her or something like that. Anyways, I did somewhat enjoy the film. Is this a film that I am going to rewatch and revisit? Well, I would revisit this franchise again, certainly. Probably don't think I would rush to see it anytime soon, but I am happy to watch it again. But do I think there could be another Strangers movie in the future? On the or on the horizon? Well, if the right story is there, if the right director comes along, then sure, maybe we could get another Strangers movie that might be outside of this universe. The running time is similar to the previous two chapters, 1 hour and 31 minutes, so it is a short movie, but there is long rumours of there being a supercut that where all three films will come together as one long movie. Maybe I will watch the supercut when that does get released eventually. But The Strangers Chapter 3 is available in cinemas and theatres worldwide. And that is it for this week's episode of the Movie Wrap Up. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below what movies you guys have watched this week, whether it's old, new, in cinemas, in theatres, on Blu-ray, on DVD, or even on VHS. Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you like what you see, feel free to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below to become a Stevo. I'll be back tomorrow, Monday the 16th of February 2026 at 4 PM UK time with your next episode of Steve's Weekly Vlog. Until then though, it's goodbye, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.